Listen, guys, I want to talk today about processing fights with your spouse and regrettable incidents. And I want to give you some tips on how to identify and understand what triggers you and your spouse, right? I'm sure all of us have gotten into that one argument with our spouse where we were just like, for real, totally, it happened. And then after it happened, because hindsight is always 20/20, you felt like trash because you acted in a way that you are just not proud of, right? But you understand why you did, right? I want us to get some tips on understanding what the triggers are for us and what they are for our spouses and having some communication around those things. I had seen a documentary one time on National Geographic about Antarctica and the ice, how the temperature is cold. And when you hit an iceberg, usually what you see is 10% of the iceberg and 90% of the iceberg sits under the water. When you see frustration or anger or any of those things coming at you as a result of something you did or said that triggered your spouse, you're only seeing the anger coming at you. But 90% of what you're seeing coming at you is really sitting under the surface, right? And sometimes those might be feelings of exclusion, like, right, I felt excluded, or I felt scolded, I felt judged, I felt unloved, I felt like what you did was unfair, I felt like controlled. And here's the funny thing, those feelings are usually linked to old feelings that happened from the past in most cases, right? And so because we never discussed them, because we never got healing for them, and they kind of laid dormant after a season and period of time, that one thing that your spouse did or said served as a trigger that woke up that past trauma, and now we're off in left field arguing and not really proud of the outcome. So what I want us to do is start having discussions under identifying what the triggers are and what escalated it, right? So there's two things that I want y'all to do this week, right? And under each one of those two things are two questions I want you to ask. Under the first part, which is I want you to understand why these are triggers, right? Understand why these are triggers. Here's the two things, right? Rewind the story of your life in your mind. Stop at an incident you remember from your childhood or your past in general, not in this relationship, in which you got triggered in the same way or had some of these very same feelings, right? So in other words, I want you to look at the trigger and what it did to you, how it hit you in the way that it did. And I want you to see if you can make the connection between what triggered you and some past experience, not in this relationship, that allowed you to feel the way that you did as it relates to this trigger. Right? I want you to make the connection in between the two. And then I want you to start having some discussions around that and what needs to be done in order for you to get the healing so that no longer becomes a trigger. Now, here's the thing, that won't happen overnight. It may be an extended time until you reach healing. But the two things is that the one person needs to work on the healing and the other one needs to make sure that they don't do anything that triggers them, right? Or triggers that particular feeling, right? As you work through that, right? So that's the first thing under that heading. The second thing under that heading is tell the story of that incident, how it happened, and what you felt, right? And then I want you to listen to your partner's story with empathy. In other words, I want you to put yourself in their shoes. How would you have handled it if you had been in the same place, right? So that's the first part. The second part to that is figure out how to make it better next time, right? So the first thing that I want you to do in figuring out how to make it better next time is what is one way your partner can make it better next time this kind of incident happens. In other words, what are the things that your partner could do the next time to make sure that they properly navigate around these triggers and not making sure they trigger you? So that's for your partner. And then the second thing is what is one way that you can make it better next time, right? Remember what I always say, you're not the problem, your spouse is not the problem. The problem is the problem. And in figuring out what you can do and your spouse figuring out what they can do to make it better next time, you are now working together against the problem and not each other, right? So that's the second thing. So the first thing was understand why these are triggers. And the second thing is figure out how you can make it better next time. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I say about this thing. From shaky to good, from good to great. Ultimately, what we want is phenomenal marriages, but you need to understand that nobody is giving out phenomenal marriages. The only way to get it is to work for it, right? So let's do that work specifically on having these discussions around what serves as triggers for our anger and our frustration in our marital relationships, right? Oh man, y'all already know, man. If you're not working on your marriage, if you are not working on your marriage, then my friends, what are you doing? It's your boy Quest. Peace. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Quest, man, professional marriage and life coach. Listen, one of the things that we've always tried to do here, or one of the major themes here at the Greenhouse, right, or in the work that I do, is to concentrate on love, lifestyle, and legacy, right? And for the purposes of lifestyle, we wanted to create merch that is consistent with our ideas and beliefs as it relates to marriage. So listen, guys, you can see I got on the Tribe Called Marriage, raglan shirt, Tribe Called Marriage hat, and we have that and tons more merch in the shop. Do me a favor, if you like what we're doing and you like the merch, do me a favor, stop by, get some for you and your wife and support the movement. You feel me? Because if you're not working on your marriage, my friends, then what are you doing? Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Quest. Peace.